Perfect.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Welcome to episode 4.
Yeah, episode 4, part 2.
Yeah. We already filmed episode 4, or recorded episode 4.
Yeah.
But we only recorded 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Of an hour and a half, so we're going to try again.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Hannah is on board to make sure that the app doesn't stop working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storage issues.
Yeah. All of it.
And we have Roby today as well.
Yeah.
Sniffing around. Yeah, welcome back to episode 4 of Jordan and Amelia Unleashed.
Yeah, or Amelia and Jordan Unleashed.
Yeah, whichever you prefer.
Both those.
Hope you enjoyed the first 3. It's been quite good fun, hasn't it?
It has. It's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Listening to people's stories and tips, tricks, all of it. It's been great fun.
And we've got some exciting, hopefully exciting, new guests.
Yes. Yeah. Coming soon.
Absolutely. So what we kind of spoke about was last Saturday, or last weekend,
Yes.
Gina and Rob, had a hard day. And we were talking about why that might happen, why dogs might not enjoy the grooming process as much as other dogs, and what can be done to make them enjoy it as much as possible from as early as possible.
Yeah. It's all about your puppy introductions. I'd probably say that all dog breeds need grooming at some point in their life, whether it's nail trimming, ear cleaning, de-shedding, brushing, combing, all of it.
Just a bath.
Just a bath.
Fox poo.
Yeah. Dogs are smelly. Wash them. Especially if you have dogs that are going to need intensive grooming, by meaning of like having to be scissored all over or clipped or blasted, that kind of thing. Sorry, there's Roby. It's best to get them started as early as possible. Usually we recommend they come in, I think it's 2 weeks after their last jab, when they're allowed to put their feet on the floor and they're allowed to mingle with dogs safely, according to the vets.
Up for debate, but
yeah. At that age, they come in, we do a sights and sounds of the groom room, which is half an hour and it's just desensitization. It's them getting to know us, getting to know upstairs, listening to the sound of the dryer, being popped in the bath, having their feet getting wet. They get a quick brush through all over, lots of treats, lots of fuzz, so that hopefully they learn to love it. It's not always the case for every dog. Some dogs just aren't a fan of the process, and that's okay.
I think also people get really excited when they first get a dog to do all of those things with their dog. So like doing the first bath, or maybe nail trim's not as exciting, but the first nail trim,
baby, isn't it?
yeah, or the first like dry. Yeah. And sometimes when it's your own dog, you make it into a bit more of a game rather than a training exercise. So what the groomers will do is half an hour of training.
Yes, it is
a little bit of fun.
Yeah, training and fun. Positive reinforcement. Trying to teach your dog. I mean, there's 2 really hard things. One, that they're going to have to be touched all over with different equipment, different tools. They're going to have sharp objects move near their face, and that in itself is quite scary for anyone. But the other thing is they need to stay stillish on a table for anywhere from like 1 hour up to like 4 hours, depending on your breed. And I find that is sometimes the hardest thing to get your dogs used to, because how often can you keep your puppies still at home for longer than 5 minutes unless they're asleep? And the answer usually is that you can't.
Yeah. You've kind of taught them to be up and on the go and playing with a toy and
follow you around. And we do get some really cute dogs that will tell you off from going from one side of the table to the other. There's little Bonnie, I've sussed it now. She will bark at me if I go from one side of the table to the other and tell me off moving, unless I keep one hand on her while doing so. If I do that, she doesn't tell me off.
I don't get it. Is that because you're going out of sight?
No, she literally watches me and literally just move 4 feet from one side of the table to the other.
Just the fear of something different happening on the other side?
Yeah. I don't know. But she tells me off. So don't do that. So sorry, Bonnie.
Which is barking.
Yeah.
You had her in the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, she was really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like Bonnie. She's really funny.
Was it yesterday or today?
Yesterday. It was her second birthday.
Cute.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's a nice dog. We've had some nice dogs in. Bargina and Rob.
So do you feel like, obviously, there's all the things you can do, like taking your dog for that first desensitization session with your chosen groomer. Obviously, it helps if they stay with at least the same place.
Yeah, it gets them used to a routine. They know where they're going.
Yeah.
It just gets them used to being, which is quite nice. For some dogs it's fine, but if your dog is particularly anxious or they do like to have a bond with someone, it's kind of nicer on them. It's like how people will stick with one vet because they know the vet. It's intensive work, and to have that bond is really nice, not only for us but for your dog too. Sorry, my brain's gone.
Well, we recommend, which we put together, the like puppy class, I guess, for grooming, which is like 6 months of, is it 4 sessions?
It's 4 sessions. You got the sights and sounds, but we also do a consultation on that, so we can talk through your puppy's coat, how to keep on top of it, best way to manage it, and then we can also give you some tips and tricks to how to desensitize them at home and not make things into a game. Following on from that, we do 3, we call them puppy pampers, which all depends on how well they get on with the sights and sounds. Occasionally some of them need a couple of those sessions just to really ease them into the process. The puppy pamper, we've just changed recently so that we're going to start including manual teeth cleaning on all of them, because dog dental disease, as we all know, is really on the rise, and the sooner and earlier we can get your dogs comfortable with having their teeth touched, looked at, brushed, the easier it is for us to keep on top of anything we see coming, or even with their canines, like quite usually Dachshunds or Poodles, those kind of breeds, they quite often will get it. It's like a vampire tooth. So their puppy teeth will stay in as their adult teeth come through. They end up with like a double canine. And a lot of the times they have to have surgery to have it removed because it just won't naturally want to come out. But sometimes if you're not looking at a puppy's teeth, you just don't notice until they're 9-10 months old and they have a checkup and they goes, oh, have you seen this? Yeah, and
it's kind of not too late, but you could have.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a solution for it, but it's just nice to know about it. So we're going to start including those. They'll have a bath, they'll have a blow dry, we give them a brush through, they'll have their nails clipped, paw pads clipped, clean their ears, tidy up their sanitary area, and if they have hair in front of their eyes, we'll give that a little trim. If they're comfortable with that, if they're not, we just try and build them up. So whether it's getting them used to having our hands under their chins, we don't pull or anything. I wouldn't like if someone pulled my chin. But
quite a lot of groomers do that.
Yeah.
Is that just to hold it in place?
Yeah, literally, like it's just your finger and thumb under their chin, just gently holding. It just keeps them there. That's like your point of gravity.
Yeah, I've seen a lot on social media about people going, oh, it looks really mean and like does not hurt the dog, and like the typical people don't really understand what's going on, so I'll just hate it.
Yeah.
But actually, keeping their face in place is much safer when you're cutting around their eyes and stuff. I mean, it'd be worse if you accidentally stabbed them with the scissors.
Yeah, we'd really hate them. That would be
so it's like
that'd be awful.
The lesser of two evils, and you can't always tell a dog to just sit still.
Yeah, and you've got so many different holds for under there. So like quite often you'll find that dogs that have an under or an overbite, they'll be a little bit sensitive about having their chin held just because of where their jaw's slightly displaced. It can be a bit uncomfortable. So you sort of make a V with your finger and your thumb, and you hold it under their chin towards their throat, obviously not putting pressure on their throat. And a lot of dogs tend to find that quite comfortable because they can sort of rest their chin on your hand. You can feel if they're going to move as you get sharp objects near them, but it just gives you a lot of control, and the dogs quite enjoy it. There's no yanking, pulling, like, oh, stay still, or I'm going to squeeze your mouth, like, we just don't do that. It can look a bit like you're doing that, but we're not. It's so odd, isn't it? Because there's never a moment at home where you would hold onto your dog's chin.
No. Well, you might need to if, say, they got something in their eye, or you need to look in their ear or in their mouth.
Yeah.
Like, you might need to do that, and then you probably end up doing the wrong thing, like 2 hands and like, just stay still.
Squishing you together.
Yeah, like getting frustrated because you don't know how to hold their head.
Yeah. It's a minefield, isn't it? I mean, with Riley, there's no chin to hold on to. So sometimes you are just sort of like holding on top of his head, like, okay, I need to get this out of your eye, and he's like, no, don't do it, and you're like, please,
just
please.
shaking his head around.
Yeah.
And it becomes frustrating.
Yeah, but he's quite good now. He sort of knows what's going on. It's taken a few years.
The other thing I've seen a lot of is like the hairdryer to the face.
Yes, that was a really bad trend.
Yeah, and we did have a customer actually who was quite excited about, she's got her new puppy. She was excited about the fact that she was bathing him at home and he was enjoying the hairdryer.
Yeah.
But I think she had misunderstood the enjoyment.
Yeah.
Or maybe he does enjoy it at home, but then being on the table, he couldn't get away from the hairdryer, so it wasn't as much fun. And he's like not understood that maybe the hairdryer isn't a toy.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I mean, you're at home, you're with your dog, you want to bond with them, don't you? You want to have fun. So of course you want to make those boring chores seem fun, and it can be so hard to get the balance between what's fun, what could actually be a little bit traumatic, and what could set your dog up for failure instead of success. So with the hairdryer, obviously it seems quite fun, doesn't it? You can chase your dog with a hairdryer and they're like, hey, get away from me, and you're like, oh, this is hilarious. Your dog might come back for more. But on the flip side of that, if your dog is a dog that will need regular grooming, by doing that, you're inadvertently teaching your dog to run away from the dryer, and it's something to be scared of. So when they're then in a situation where they're on a grooming table, they can't run away, they have to sort of be on the table.
And they need drying.
And it is like a hairdryer on steroids size. Of course the dog's going to be like, oh god, what's going on? It's the same with like bathing and stuff. Like, anything can be made into a game, or paw touching is one of the most annoying things, because we will quite often hear like, make sure you touch their paws, desensitize them. But what a lot of people interpret that as is play games with their paws. So like, if the dog's lying down, you're saying, I'm going to tap your paw, I'm going to do this, and your dog's like, don't tap my paw, I'm going to pick my paws away. And then when we need to touch their paws, they're like, oh god, you're going to do it, and we're like, no, I promise I'm not, please stay still.
And probably like, what happens if you do hold my paw? Like, something really bad.
They just look at you with like whites of their eyes, like, please don't.
And that makes nail trimming obviously really hard, but also trimming inside the paws, which is something you have to do quite a lot for like your curly coated breeds or double coats, I think they say.
Curly coats, some double coats. To be honest, even short coats sometimes we have to like keep on top of the hair in between their toes and their paw pads, just stop it from being so slippy. But yeah, it can be, if they don't like having their feet touched and we're trying to train them in ways to get over that, it can be made more difficult if then at home it's all a game. But it all just comes with, like you say, educating the owners and talking to people about it and understanding what's going on at home that might be setting them back in the groom room and how we can reverse that.
Yeah. So do you think it's better maybe if people just don't hairdryer their dogs?
Sometimes, yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't know how you can how do you train people at home? How do you train the owner to train their dog at home that it's okay? Because I feel like it would always go badly.
It can, but it depends what tools you use. I mean, if your dog's a foodie, use peanut butter, lick mat, or something to keep them distracted. If there's two of you, great. Have one person with peanut butter, that's positive praise. Turn your hairdryer on, and instead of blasting the air straight at them and scaring them, turn it on and just get them used to the sound, like before you put anything towards them. Do lots of lick mats and bring them slightly closer, and then as soon as they react like, oh, that's a bit too close, just stop, pull them away, let them know they have the space to be able to say, oh, that's too much. And over time, you can bring it closer and closer, and you'll be able to get to the point where the dog will go, actually, that's not a threat, that's totally fine. Or buy a happy hoodie for home, which is like an insulated sock that goes over the head and makes every dog look like a seal. They're
very
really
cute.
Yeah, but they're also They're also quite good for like fireworks and stuff like that because it muffles the sound. And I find it generally to be quite anxiety inducing reducing for a lot of dogs.
Yeah, I've recommended it to a few people who, even if you can't like leave your dog at home alone, if they get anxiety, like swaddling them is really handy. So things like bathing towel robes and stuff, like the rough and tumbles are really good because they can go over the ears as well.
Yeah, and used to have like, I don't know if they still do them, they used to do like anti-anxiety vests for dogs, and it's all just compression, like literally like around their chest, and obviously not squeezing the life out of them, but just to make you feel a bit more secure. I guess it's like a weighted blanket to a human kind of thing.
So really it's just not rushing.
Yeah, take it slow, take it easy.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
And if you don't have the time to take it slow, then maybe don't do anything.
Yeah.
Because you could end up making it really difficult for your dog and your groomer in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. But always ask. You can always ask. Like literally anyone. We will happily give any advice if we think it's going to help. You can take our advice and do it, or you can do the opposite. It's up to you.
Well, and then you get booted out from the groomers.
Yeah, basically. You know, we're talking about twat tax, you know.
Oh, those poor puppies.
Yeah. We do love puppies though.
Yeah, they are very cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Gina had a hard time with that one.
Yeah. They're just, the thing with puppies is they are so cute and they are so adorable. And when you put them on the table, they either remain cute and adorable or they turn into little piranhas that are still cute, but their teeth are so sharp and you're like, what? I don't know what to do with you. What's going on? And you can try and like de-escalate the situation, but sometimes pups will just like reach their limit and they're like, no, I am just going to be a piranha. And at that point, you kind of just have to concede and say, right, time to pop you on the floor, let's have a play, get your energy out, figure out what's going on.
We'll do nothing here.
Yeah. Or call it a day, just say, right, you've reached the limit.
Bless them.
Yeah.
So what dogs, I know you said all dogs would benefit from like sights and sounds, but not all dogs necessarily maybe need to go through like the full puppy class on how to go to the groomers every 8 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
So what kind of breeds should people be kind of prioritising getting to the groomers ASAP?
If your dog's hair is going to grow, like beyond the length of a Labrador's, then you count. You know, whether it's bearded collies, it's cockapoos, Tibetan terriers, golden retrievers, cockers, springers, chihuahuas if they're long haired. To be honest, maybe even just chihuahuas in general because they're not the biggest fan of having their nails done. Love them, but they are little spicy things. Breeds.
I think as well with small dogs, they're harder to get a grip of.
Yeah.
Because you feel like, oh no, it's so small.
Yeah.
Anything I do looks bad.
That's exactly it. And if you think about the size of a chihuahua and then think about the size of a pair of bar clippers, they are basically the same size. And if you have a chihuahua that you're trying to do a sanitary trim or something on, like sometimes you have to get someone to hold them because if they stand on the table, your clipper physically won't fit underneath.
Really?
Yeah, so you just have to get someone to like just help stand them up.
A book.
Scoop it out. Yeah. Give them some little stills. Here's some heels for you.
That's so cute. Bless them.
Yeah.
So, all curly hairs. And then there's also the thing about when it gets to like the 6 month mark for most poodle breeds. And then the owners go, oh my God, what the hell's going on? They've suddenly like grown like crazy and they've got 2 different types of hair and now I just want to shave it all off, but I don't want to shave it all off because they look really cute. Like what do they do? Because I think a lot of people don't realise that the hair is changing and the adult coat's coming in.
I think there's so much misinformation on that as a whole, like generally, like a lot of breeders that we've heard of will say to you that sell you a high maintenance puppy, so whether that's a poodle cross or something curly coated that will inevitably have to be groomed for at least 6 to 8 weeks of its life. There's a lot of speculation saying that people will say do not get them groomed until they're a year old, which is absolute nonsense. By the time they're a year old, they will not be able to see like at all. But also their coats are going to be so long that you at home trying to keep on top of that, it's going to be mission impossible. There's not a comb with teeth long enough to get through that. But also, in that time, a lot happens. When they're a year old, for most medium or small size breeds, they're already coming into their teenagehood, which, as we all know, is quite a trying time. People always say puppy time's hard, but wait until they're a teenager.
And they have have already had their first season and everything.
Yeah, they're pretty much an adult dog, aren't they? They're fully grown most of the time and fully come into themselves. So by that point, 9 times out of 10, when we see dogs at that and they say, right, they've never been groomed before, they're a year old, they are a complete clip off, by meaning we have to use a blade that is between 3 to 2 millimeters short to get under the mats. When you look at the coat to begin with, it can look like they're brushed out, they're fluffy and all of that, but that is just the top coat. It's not until you really get down to the bottom of it that you realise there is a layer of felt from the wool. So with curly coated breeds, pretty much all breeds, but you can see it more in curly coated, so your wool types, cockabreeds, all of that. When they get to about 8 months is when they go through coat change. So it's all of their fluffy, fairly light puppy coat will then start to get pushed out by their adult coat. Their adult coat can be a lot denser, it can be more wiry, it can sometimes be a slightly different colour. There's so many different variations to it, but at that point, all the coats want to do is to stitch together and push each other out, which is, I mean, for anyone that keeps their dogs fairly short anyway, it's still a really hard time to keep on top of it because they can just look at water and it will mat together.
And how does it feel? How do mats feel?
Oh, that's a really good question.
You just can't feel the skin, can you? So if they were matted all over, like you could put your fingers in and you just wouldn't reach skin.
Yeah, it feels like clumps, and they're like, imagine like tightly compounded cotton wool, like that kind of clumpiness to it, where you can't get your fingers through to feel the skin underneath, and quite often you'll be able to feel it in fairly big sections where it all just wants to stitch together. At that point, there is nothing we can do for your dog other than shave underneath it. Like, it goes against all of their welfare laws and guidelines to brush that out. It would just
take too long and too painful.
It would take too long, it'd be too painful. With that, you can get so many different risks with it, like breakthrough bleeding, bruising, hematomas. It's just not worth it. Like, it really isn't. For hair that's going to grow back, what does it matter? If your child had, I don't know, a massive mat of all of their hair, you wouldn't send them to a hairdresser.
Dreadlocks.
Yeah, like unkept dreadlocks.
Yeah, it's like trying to remove dreadlocks, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
No, not quickly either. But yeah, that's kind of your mark. We always recommend, like I said earlier, that they come in as soon as they can to get used to everything, and then usually by the time they're about 6-7 months old is when we can give them their first haircut. It's just when they're more used to it, they know what's going on, they'll be fairly still on the table, they're desensitised to the clippers, so we can just ease them through the process. At that stage, most times, like, a lot of owners request that we don't take loads off, it's more of a puppy cut, so we'll use like our longest comb attachment.
So they look cute.
Yes, they still look cute, but it'll be like same length all over with their little cute face and cute heads. But it's just easier to keep on top of, get some used to everything, and then from there we tend to work our way through the comb attachments to figure out what length suits the owner's lifestyle, suits the dog's lifestyle, what you can keep on top of, that kind of thing. So hopefully we can prevent your dog from ever getting to the point where they're so matted we have to clip it off.
Yeah, and I guess how often they're able to come in.
Yeah.
But really, everybody that gets a dog like that should expect every 8 weeks.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Which
never really.
Not minimum. I'd probably say 5 weeks is probably a golden time. But that's just to keep on top of it.
That never happens.
It never happens, no. But that's
even
really
tough
nice.
to get people in every 8 weeks.
I know. And there's always people like, I want them really long and fluffy, and I'm like, they're matted. So sorry. You can have a long beard and tail and nothing else.
And you did have a puppy in the other day that hadn't had a groom.
Yeah, 10 months old.
10 months. And yeah, he looked really cute. But he was all matted underneath.
Yeah.
And he was full of ticks.
Yeah, there was a lot of, that's the other thing with matting, is you never know what's going on underneath.
No.
So once we'd got his coat off, which actually he was such a good boy about it. He sat there really nicely. He gave us kisses all the way through. He was so good. So at that point, you think, shit, this is going to be a battle. Or they're like, oh, this is actually really nice. This feels great. You know, I can feel my skin. This is wonderful. So once we removed the matting, is then when we started to find loads of ticks, and also in his armpits, we kept feeling little spikes, which at this time of year is a real worry, that he's had grass seeds in there that have gone unnoticed and could be working their way through his body, which thankfully in this case, this time,
Yeah, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
What were they?
They were like little bits of straw from where he's been out in the field.
Oh god.
You know?
It must be really uncomfortable.
It would be, wouldn't it? If we can feel it scratch, then he must feel it when he moves his arms.
Yeah.
But his dad was really cool about it as well. His dad, I think, was just thankful to have the coat off. To not have depression for a while.
Yeah, but there's also that thing of like, why had it taken so long for him to come in for his first groom?
Yeah.
Is there anyone telling you when you buy a certain breed how often you're going to need to take them to the groomers and what the maintenance is, or the at-home maintenance, or are they literally just handing over a puppy and going, have fun? It's hypoallergenic.
Yeah. Or a lot of people will go, oh, it's low maintenance because it doesn't shed. So when people say that, my dog doesn't shed, it's low maintenance. It's low maintenance on your Hoover, but you need to brush and comb that thing because all of that coat will stay in and just knot and mat, and you'll have a really hard time.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, also they are quite a high maintenance breed generally.
Extremely.
Yeah.
But now you're talking about poodle
crosses.
crosses.
Yeah. Poodles and their own's great, cockers and their own's great, but they are so intelligent. No, we can still have a poodle, that's totally fine.
You just have to know how high maintenance it is.
Yeah. Yeah, they are a high maintenance breed. They're incredibly intelligent. They're always mixed with another really intelligent, active breed, unless it's a Cavapoo.
Much better, yeah.
Lazy. Yeah.
And poodles also only love one person.
They are. I've been finding this out more and more recently. That they just get attached.
Fixated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
Like Joe from You.
Yeah. Yeah. Like crazy.
Yeah. Which explains a lot of cockapoo's neediness.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Cavapoos.
Yeah.
Labradoodles. And golden doodles.
They just love one person.
Yeah.
I remember going to Crufts when I went to the Dogliness stand, which is that really nice, expensive pet shampoo.
Yeah.
And she's got 2 miniature poodles, and she was like busy talking to someone. Went up to the stand and I was like, oh, can I like video the poodles? And she was like, no. Like they're aggressive because she's away from them and they only want her, and they were just sat staring at her, like sat perfectly on this little sofa just staring at their mum.
That's a bit creepy, isn't it?
Yeah. That is, they just love one person.
I mean, that is sweet. If you want a dog that is going to be attached, that's really sweet.
I don't think I do.
No.
It's too much work.
Poodle now?
Alice wants a poodle, I don't.
Yeah.
I'd have the big standard, I think.
Yeah, they are good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like a standard.
But
Cool hand is nodding, sweet.
You've just got to know like what breed you're getting, what that breed entails. You know, lots of people say like, oh, you're getting a Labrador, that's so much hard work. They need like 3 hours of walking. I'm like,
idiots. Who says that?
Loads of people say that.
It's crazy.
I know.
They're so lazy.
Like, they don't need any walking.
No.
I literally asked Roby to come out at 2:00 today, and she said no. This is her first time out the house. Yeah, and it's 6 p.m.
Yeah, Riley doesn't even get excited if we say, do you want to go for a walk? He's like, no, actually,
I'll think about it.
On the sofa.
Yeah, I'm much happier at home. It's
That's
wild.
mad. I had a working cocker spaniel owner tell me that Labradors were more work than her working cocker. And I looked at her and I was like, what? What?
Obviously never had a Labrador.
No.
No.
I mean, there are some nutty Labradors, but they're still just perfect, aren't they? Let's be honest.
And they're probably just wired on some kind of sugary food.
Yeah. Feed them raw, they'll be really calm.
Yeah. Extremely chill.
Yeah.
So the takeaway is I think also maybe people don't realise what goes on in the groom room and how much more stressful it can be to have a dog that isn't well behaved on the table.
Yeah. Not just to the groomers, but to the other dogs too.
Yeah.
Dogs can smell cortisol and stress levels.
And your own dog.
Yeah.
You know, not being used to it. So make sure you train them well at the beginning.
Yeah.
Take them to your groomers from 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah. I mean, you can bring them in earlier and give them a cuddle. That's totally cool, you know.
So cute. And don't chase your dog around with the hairdryer.
No, unless you really want them to hate the hairdryer.
Or the hose.
Or the hose, yeah. Mind you, if your dog rolls in poo, or the bog.
You have no choice.
Yeah, that dog's getting hosed.
But yeah. It's just, I think it's mostly common sense. It's just whether people sit down and think about it before they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is, like you say, independently research every breed that you think you like.
Mm-hmm.
Does it suit you? Does it suit your lifestyle? Is it something that maybe you can afford? Or all of those different things go into it. You know, if you can't be affording £70-80 every 2 months to have them groomed on top of food costs and insurance, then maybe it's not the right breed for you. And that's okay. Just be real with yourself, be honest.
I think what we said, wasn't it? It's like £10 a week.
Yeah, I liked how you broke it down.
Every week, that was it.
Yeah.
So really, it's not a huge amount. I mean, it's not for everyone, but it doesn't seem as much when it's just £10 a week.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Tip your groomers, obviously.
If they're good.
Yeah, if they're good. Yeah, even if they're bad, you know, they'll probably really appreciate it.
And pick the right groomer too. Make sure you're not, you know, traumatising your dog.
Yeah, basically, just really do your research.
Yeah.
Ask family, ask friends, ask... If you see someone in your area with a dog that's really nicely groomed, talk to them, ask them.
And hope that groomer has space.
Yeah, if they don't, that's a really good sign.
Get on the waiting list.
Yeah.
Cool, I think we covered that.
I think so too. And I think it is bang on 7 o'clock.
Is it?
Yeah.
I have a weird thing about time.
Me too. If it helps.
You're both nuts.
I have to leave the house by 8:05 in the morning. Otherwise, in my brain, I'm going to be late for my job that's 5 minutes down the road.
She's so
Really?
stressed.
Yeah. I literally can't.
And you drive.
Yeah, I know. And in my brain, I'm going to be late. I'm going to miss the miss the first dog. And it makes no logical sense. I know I won't. Just can't get it out of my head.
Oh well. It's probably a good thing, to be honest.
Does she ride a car?
I'm never here when she rides. I would never know that.
I go straight to the coffee machine.
Anyway, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Who have we got lined up for
Um.
episode 5? Who do you think it's going to be?
Oh. I reckon we should try Louise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. So Louise lives in Tetbury, doesn't she?
Yes.
Nice. And she has a German Shepherd
Yes.
that was seized by the police.
Sadly, when he was a puppy. Yeah. And she's got a really interesting story about how she got him back and all the hoops she had to jump through. And it's kind of just highlights the whole policing dog thing that's going on.
How ridiculous it is.
Yeah. You can't.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go more into that in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah.
XL bullies are absolutely lovely. It's the people that should be imprisoned quite heavily, I think.
Although we need to talk about this again anyway. I mean, now we're waffling, but
Yeah.
because we spoke about like Jack Russells and small dogs and
Yeah.
their perception, people always have this perception that they're aggressive.
Yeah.
And
But they're not banned.
no.
But then we said as well, didn't we, in the podcast that we really thought we
Failed.
were recording, and it was a great podcast.
Mm.
A lot of it goes into looking into the background of your breed. Terriers were there to kill things, you know, ratting, rabbiting, all of it. They're there to go down holes, shake things to death. So of course, they're going to be a bit spicy.
Yeah.
And it's the same for so many other breeds. Like, it's just looking into what they're bred for, because those characteristics are going to come through.
And I guess XL bullies just get chosen because they're so beefy
Yeah, it's a status dog, isn't it?
and they look a certain way.
Yeah, like Staffies used to be it, Huskies were at some point, Chow Chows are becoming it.
Yeah.
It's just sad. Bring back licensing. Start
I'm
petition.
sure Louise will talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be really exciting actually.
Yeah.
I will message her back.
Perfect. We'll see you next time.
Cool.